So we have a new rule change coming in for this weekend's Spanish Grand Prix. Now, this was announced quite some time ago. It's a new technical directive relating to the flexibility of the bodywork of the front wing of Formula One cars. Now, why are they doing this? What is changing and what effect will it have on the grid? Well, I'm going to give all my thoughts in this video for you guys. Basically, what is changing is that Formula One is trying to stop what it calls excessive flexing of the front wing. This is something that we saw tested extensively during certain races last year, most notably during the Italian and Azerbaijan Grand Prix. The FIA is basically concerned about teams flexing their front wings too much and becoming a safety hazard as a result, so they're tightening the regulations when it comes to this. The FIA tests for this by putting a 1000 Newton load, which is basically a kilogram, in a downward direction at 2 points along the front wing. Now, before this weekend's Spanish Grand Prix, these wings could deflect, i.e. move, by up to 15 millimeters in a vertical direction. Now, before the Spanish Grand Prix this weekend, the FIA basically allowed a vertical deflection, i.e. how much the wing actually moves, by up to 15 millimeters when a 1 kilogram load was placed at one point and then 1 kilogram load was placed at another point. Overall, when only being placed on one side, up to 20 millimeters, 2 centimeters would be allowed. However, it's now changing. So when these loads are applied on 2 places on the front wing, you are only allowed a deflection of 10 millimeters, 1 centimeter, and when only being placed on one side, only 15 millimeters, 1.5 centimeters is allowed. Now, that might not sound like a lot, but it is significant. It's basically meaning that the front wing has to be stronger under load. This is to simulate how much load is being placed on the front wing while at speed. Of course, when the cars are still, like when they're being tested, there is only a very small amount of air being pushed down upon them. But when they're going at 200 miles an hour down the straight, so much load is being pushed into the front wing. That's basically what generates downforce. But a downside of that is that force actually does deflect or move effectively the front wing down. And like I said at the start, the FAA is basically concerned that Formula One teams are going to make their wings unsafe by making them lighter just to allow them to deflect some more. It's a safety hazard in their mind. But there's another side to this as well, of course. It's the aerodynamic benefits, the so-called mini DRS effect. Now, this is something that's been raging for a long time in terms of the actual benefit that it gives. You know, we've seen camera angles that appear to show the rear wings, not the front wings, the rear wings in this case of the McLarens at Baku, opening up a little bit and giving a so-called mini DRS effect. It's basically where the bodywork of these wings flexes a little bit and allows a little opening in the elements, because you normally see quite a few different elements. I mean, I'll try and put a picture on the screen so you guys can see, just for an example, but you can see all these pieces effectively, all these building blocks effectively that make the front wing. These elements, when they are under stress, when they are being deflected, can actually open up and allow more airflow through them, reducing drag. Then when they slow down for the corner, they close up again, they undeflect, they go back to the more the natural state, and therefore they actually do produce a lot of downforce. It's a bit of both worlds. Now, this does get into the territory, allegedly, of things like active aerodynamics, although it's not active aerodynamics in the most literal sense. You know, it's not like DRS where the driver presses a button and the wing opens up like that. It's something that's produced naturally by the airflow of the car, although some people say that it's not allowed, and this will effectively tighten up what is actually allowed when it comes to the strength and deflection that's allowed for these wings. And something else to note as well, that there is a new test being introduced for the Spanish Grand Prix as well. Before Spain, the rule said that any part of the trailing edge of any front wing flap may deflect no more than 5 millimeters when measured along the loading axis with a 60 Newton point load applied, and that is to be reduced to 3 millimeters for this weekend. So again, a little change there. Now, again, you might be wondering, what effect is this going to have on the grid? Well, we don't really know, to be honest, until they get out on track, or at least they get into qualifying. It's very much speculated that McLaren are going to suffer a lot from this. This does feel to a lot of people like this is a technical directive that is aimed at reducing the advantage that McLaren have, but I don't think the main advantage for McLaren really is in their front wing. I think it's with their tyre wear, particularly over a Grand Prix distance. So it may hurt a lot of teams. It may hurt McLaren a little bit more than the others, but I don't think this is going to be the silver bullet for teams to be able to catch up in terms of the pace compared to McLaren, because overall I think they've got other advantages. I think that Mercedes engine's fantastic in the back of that car. I think the tyre wear that they are able to do is the biggest differentiating factor between them and the rest of the field. But there we go, guys. Those are my kind of thoughts on what is going on when it comes to this. It could hurt McLaren a little bit, but I don't think it's going to see them drop into the midfield or anything. I still think they're going to have a big advantage in the race, although maybe marginally a little less. This is a track, of course, Spain, where there are 2 long straights, so if it is going to have an effect, if it is going to be detrimental, this is going to be one of the tracks where it is going to hurt more than others. But we'll see what happens, guys. It could well hurt somebody else a lot more. Alpine apparently will be hurt quite badly by this, which would be a disaster for them because they're already terrible. So we'll see what happens. Like, share, comment, subscribe if you want to see more. This guy's a fantastic day wherever you're around the world today, and we'll see you very soon for much more content just like this.